What's going on, everybody? You think justice ends at sentencing? Think again. Because inside the walls of America's toughest prisons, a different justice takes over. Brutal, silent, and final killers. Predators, notorious criminals. Some feared on the streets, but hunted on the inside. No juries, no appeals, just inmate law. And a simple rule: your past decides your fate. 17 men went in, none made it out alive. Let's get into it. Abdul Wali, Afghanistan, 2002. Abdul Wali surrendered to U.S. forces hoping to clear his name. Instead, he walked into a tragedy. Inside a detention site at Bagram Air Base, CIA contractor David Pissarro beat him for 2 days. Fists, kicks, a flashlight. Wali collapsed, never to rise again. Pissarro later became the first CIA-linked paramilitary contractor prosecuted for wartime detainee abuse. Wali was buried quietly in Afghanistan, never charged with a single crime. 2. Billy Chemermere, Texas, 2023. Known to police as a serial killer who preyed on elderly women, Billy Chemermere spent only 1 year behind bars before another inmate ended his life. He had been serving 2 life sentences when he was beaten to death inside his cell, a killing authorities attributed to another prisoner already serving life. Donald Harvey, Ohio, 2017. The angel of death claimed he murdered more than 80 hospital patients. Even in prison, he was despised. In 2017, inmate James Elliott attacked Harvey with a metal object, leaving him fatally injured. Harvey died at a Toledo hospital at age 64, 3 decades into multiple life sentences. 4. Roger Kibbe, California, 2021. Roger Kibbe, the I-5 Strangler, killed women along the highways of California. In February 2021, guards found him dead on the floor of his cell. His cellmate, Jason Boudreau, later admitted to strangling him with his bare hands, claiming to be avenging Kibbe's victims. James Whitey Bulger, West Virginia, 2018 mob boss, fugitive, FBI informant. Bulger had many titles and many enemies. Within hours of arriving at USP Hazleton, inmates ambushed the wheelchair-bound gangster, beating him with a padlock and a sock and stabbing him with a homemade blade. It was over in seconds. 3 inmates were later charged. 6. Jeffrey Dahmer, Wisconsin, 1994. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes shocked the world. In 1994, during a work detail at Columbia Correctional Institution, fellow inmate Christopher Scarver killed him with a metal bar taken from exercise equipment. Dahmer died shortly after at a nearby hospital. 7. Colin Hatch, England, 2011. A convicted child killer, Colin Hatch lived under constant threat. In 2011, inmate Damien Foote entered Hatch's cell and strangled him. Foote would later say he did it because of Hatch's crimes. 8. Albert DeSalvo, Massachusetts, 1973. Known to the world as the Boston Strangler, DeSalvo was never officially convicted of the famous murders, but inside Walpole State Prison, his notoriety made him a target. In 1973, he was stabbed repeatedly in his cell block infirmary. No one was ever charged. 9. Donald Leroy Evans, Mississippi, 1999. Evans, sentenced to death for the murder of a 10-year-old girl, spent years isolated from other inmates. In 1999, another prisoner stabbed him in a shower area with a handmade shank. Evans died before medical staff could save him. 10. John Gayogan, Massachusetts, 2003. Once a Catholic priest, John Gayogan became one of the most infamous clergy abuse figures in U.S. history. Placed in protective custody, he was still not safe. In 2003, inmate Joseph Druce jammed the door to Gayogan's cell and strangled him, beating him repeatedly before guards could break in. 11. Richard Huckle, England, 2019. One of Britain's most reviled offenders. Photographer Richard Huckle abused children overseas while posing as a volunteer. In 2019, inmate Paul Fitzgerald tortured and killed him inside Full Sutton Prison, later describing the murder as a service to justice. 12. Robert Simon, Pennsylvania, 1995. A co-founder of the Warlocks Motorcycle Club, Simon sat on death row for murdering a state trooper. In 1995, fellow death row inmate Ambrose Harris stabbed him in the exercise yard, reportedly angered by Simon's racist remarks. 13. Gerard Schaefer, Florida, 1995. Ex-deputy, serial killer. Schaefer spent years claiming innocence despite overwhelming evidence. In 1995, inmate Vincent Rivera stabbed him repeatedly, later saying Schaefer bragged about killing women. The attack ended one of Florida's most disturbing criminal legacies. 14. Leslie Bailey, England, 1993, known as Cat Weasel, Bailey was convicted for his role in horrific child murders linked to a London abuse ring. After just a year in prison, 2 inmates lured him into his cell and strangled him. Both later received additional life sentences. Carl Williams, Australia, 2010. A central figure in Melbourne's gangland war, Carl Williams became a police informant behind bars. In 2010, inmate Matthew Johnson approached him from behind and smashed a metal exercise bike part into Williams's skull. It was sudden, brutal, and fatal.